Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special podcast for the Integration Down Under. Today, we have Anna Chu from Microsoft with us to talk about some upcoming opportunities to be involved in some of the Microsoft conferences. Anna, so what is Ignite?
Well, hi, Bill. It's great to be on your podcast. Thank you so much for having me. Let's start off with what Ignite is, because I'm not. Maybe some of your listeners might not be familiar with Microsoft Ignite. So it's a massive conference that we run once a year. This year it's scheduled in Orlando, Florida, and it goes on for a week. And it's happening November 4th till the 8th of November. And it's a massive event. We had, I think the number of attendees is 26,000 officially at the event last year. But if you combine all of the staff, all of the back of house people, all the speakers, everybody there, then you're getting close to 40,000 people. It's quite a big footprint. And anyone who's ever been to that convention center will tell you how many steps that they took throughout the conference, because it's pretty massive. But yeah, Microsoft Ignite is a 5-day event starting with Monday with keynotes from Satya Nadella. You can expect tech keynotes from such great and well-known folks like Julia White and Mark Rustinovich, Scott Guthrie, Scott Hanselman, a bunch of really great Microsoft people. And that's, Monday. But we also have a lot of great content coming from people in the product groups in the forms of breakout sessions and theaters. And of course, one big part of Microsoft Ignite is all of the community content delivered by well-known and well-respected experts in the community who happen to be MVPs, RDs, or MCTs. MCTs are Microsoft certified trainers. RDs are people in the Microsoft Regional Director program. And MVP, you're an MVP, Bill. So, this has been a program that's been around for over 25 years, I believe. You're a 16-year veteran yourself. So I think many people in this community already know who MVPs are. But we're looking for folks from those communities to deliver really great sessions, breakouts and theatre sessions that specifically cover community best practices. So an analogy I tend to use is that think of Microsoft content delivered by Microsoft folks as kind of the theory of the products and the technology, whereas the community, they really provide a lot of the best practices, what actually happens in the real world. And that's super valuable. Having that balance between theory and practice is what we're looking for. So we've got an open call for content happening now. We launched just last Tuesday, and people are absolutely open and welcome to apply.
Yeah, so a lot of the Australian folks would be more familiar with TechEd because that was held in Australia up until they switched it to Ignite. Is there really any difference in the focus between what TechEd used to be and what Ignite is now?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, for those of you who've been around for quite some time, I'm sure you've seen a lot of the different iterations between Microsoft Ignite and TechEd and other events of the past. Microsoft Ignite is really designed for this year in 2019 to be the nexus of IT pro and developer content. And you'll expect major announcements to stretch across both those audiences, across every product in Microsoft's stack will be present there, and we'll be making big announcements there too. So really, it's inclusive of all products, and there isn't a particular theme across Ignite. Just because it stretches such a vast array of different technologies, it'd be really hard to pin down on something that was specific enough without excluding any particular product. So yeah, Microsoft Ignite is really covering the full gamut, and will be where we make big press announcements. So yeah, you need to be there, otherwise you miss out.
Yes, I can remember some of my early days is that you had kind of things like the PDC, which is Professional Developers Conference, which was targeted on things that were going to happen in the next 12 to 18 months, where we always had the idea with TechEd and I guess Ignite too, it's things that are out there now, plus things that are coming in the near term. So I think that is good to see. And I think it's kind of, the PDC is kind of morphed a little bit into build, so that if you want to see how things are done now and what people have done and how they've done it, especially those community sessions, the working with either your customers or with your team itself, basically see how people have done best practices on implementing different products and strategies to implement different products, because it just gives you so many ideas, I think. So it's well worthwhile for people to be able to share that information with the other people. And I know I've been to the Orlando Convention Center a couple of times, and I know that you will definitely get your exercise. Not as bad as New Orleans. New Orleans, if you've ever been there, is built along the river, and they just kept building on to the end of it. So it's a very long place, but yeah, it's well worthwhile. And I think if you've never been to a conference of that size, it's very impressive to see all of the people, and it's just a really good chance to catch up with your peers, basically from all over the world.
Totally. I know that, it's quite a long hike for people coming from Australia to go to Orlando. And as much as I want to encourage as many people to come to Orlando, I know it may not be physically possible. So some of your listeners might be interested to know that every single session gets recorded. And when I say every single session, specifically the breakouts, the theaters, what we used to call general sessions, but we're calling them openers this year, our technology keynotes, and of course the keynote. Now, so if you feel like you're missing out and you really can't afford the time to go, then that is another option for you. But the other thing to note too is that we do live stream a lot of the sessions as well. And so you can certainly expect that keynote, the technology keynotes, and the openers to be live streamed. Many of those, especially the ladders, they will be happening concurrently. So you get to pick and choose which sessions you can stream live versus the ones that you can watch after the fact, and get a recap on that. But also throughout the week, we will be live streaming all the breakouts as well. The theaters won't, unfortunately, get that live stream experience, but ultimately, there's a lot of great content for you to choose from. You could probably spend a whole week just recapping on all of the great content, and we're making that available for anyone, even if you haven't gotten a paid pass to go to Ignite. We're really making this a democratized experience, so no one misses out on any of the news.
Yeah, I used to travel a lot more for my work, and that was my classic, is I would go out on Channel 9 and download the content from one of the recent conferences and onto my laptop, and then listen to that on the flights and stuff like that. And I guess one of the nice things for speakers is that if you do put in a talk and get accepted for Ignite, then your talk is going to be up there also, so that you can refer people to that. You can use that with your customers to show them that you've been involved in these technical conferences and things like that. So I think it's a really good thing, because I know we just were doing some stuff for searching around things, and ran across a couple of my talks at TechEd New Zealand and TechEd Australia. So that was really good. Especially when you're in front of customers and things like that, working on projects, they can see that you've presented at these conferences and things like that.
Totally. So. Yeah. And we're making the Microsoft Tech Community the official platform for Microsoft Ignite. So that's where not only where you go to download all the PowerPoint slides and view them, but also where you can view those recordings. But thirdly, where you can continue to have a conversation about that particular session in the community itself. So one of my pet peeves is that we invest a lot of effort and money towards having a really great website and a great mobile app, but once the event is over, a lot of that content just disappears because nobody needs to use the app anymore, right? So for me, like, I really want to make sure that content lives on because it's still very relevant, even 6 months after the event has finished. So yeah, we are absolutely about making the content available on demand. But I'm guessing some of your listeners are thinking, well, what's the reason for me to go to Ignite physically if you're going to be making a lot of this content available for virtual attendees? And I'm sure you agree with me, Bill, but one of the main reasons why people get such value out of Ignite and keep coming again and again are access to all of the great people who are there, not just the speakers that you can have a real conversation with, but also people in the community, other, people that you may have been following on Twitter for quite some time, or through other means. The networking opportunities are really, really huge, and there's always like this notion of a reunion of sorts when you go to Microsoft Ignite. You hit up people to say, hey, like, are you coming to Microsoft Ignite? Like, it'll be really great to catch up over a coffee or a beverage. And check in on how people are doing. And these are not relationships that kind of die after the event. You can still contact people through social media or LinkedIn and continue to see how they're going with IoT or Azure Cloud Services and things like that. So yeah, it's I think especially now that we're in 2019, the journey to learn about Microsoft products and any cloud solutions right now is just, the pace of learning is just so high. And I always found that people who have a strong community network are really great at learning because they're sort of crowdsourcing a lot of what they need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I can't agree more. The networking opportunities and being able to meet the people that you've been talking to over the internet or on Twitter or any of the social media, the forums, things like that. It is so good too. I think, are they having the hands-on learning at Ignite this year also? Because I know
Yeah.
in past years I've actually helped out with some of those hands-on learning days at Ignite, and it's very, very helpful. That way you can pick up something that you aren't familiar with. You have issues, there's people there to help you, and then they can also point you to the other people around there that you can go talk to for further information and things like that.
Oh, absolutely. Learn is one of the key tenets, if you will, of the whole event. We are absolutely an event that's focused on helping IT pros and developers get access to the latest Learn resources and play with those resources while they're at Ignite. Not only will we have labs, we will have a bunch of pre-days that some people may not know about. The Sunday before the event, before it kicks off on Monday, we have a whole bunch of pre-days that you can register for. Many of those you have to pay an additional ticket in order to get access to these pre-days, but these are full day workshops where you get to work through a whole bunch of different challenges. I believe they're still working on the website right now, so you can see all of those pre-days, but we're really seeing a lot of demand for some of our security workshops right now, and a lot of the Azure ones too. So take a look when you go through the registration tool. You'll see all these different pre-days that are available. Highly recommend you arrive early, plan to arrive on the Saturday, attend a pre-day, and then it all officially kicks off on Monday. So yeah, hands-on labs are also part of that, but that will be throughout the week starting Monday. But yeah,
yes, And I know from the traveling from this far away in Australia to there, you definitely want to arrive either Friday or Saturday to get yourself adjusted to the time zone.
Oh,
and
totally.
I mean, Orlando, depending on what you like to do, if you bring the family and the kids, you've got the Disney World there, and that'll keep the family busy while you're at the tech conference.
And don't forget Universal as well.
Oh, the next one a lot of the Australians talk to me about is the Kennedy Space Center. It's not that far away over there.
Yes.
I can remember one time we were down there for, I was down for a conference, and they had a night shuttle launch. and that
Oh
was
my goodness.
fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, there's lots to do around the Orlando area. So
Mhm.
definitely can if you want to make a family holiday out of it, makes it well worth the trip.
Yeah, absolutely. I will have to say though, speaking of families, the event is well, the event itself is an 18 and over event. But the attendee party, which people are pretty familiar with, we hosted at Universal last year, and I can't say whether we will host it there this year. But we typically have alcohol available, and so we do restrict it to a 21 and over event, sadly. So if you did want to take advantage of that, I would personally take your own time out to bring the whole family together so they don't feel like they're missing out on that great experience that you get as part of the attendee party.
No, I understand that. It's just that one of the things that I know is that in the past when I've gone down with family,
Mm-hmm.
they've spent their days at the parks and things like that while I did
I see.
the technical stuff. So there's
Yeah.
it makes it very easy to do that in Orlando.
Oh,
So
for sure, for sure. Um, so I mentioned the call for community content, which is where MVPs, RDs, and MCTs can apply to deliver breakouts, theaters, and exam prep sessions. But there's actually two other opportunities that are a little bit more inclusive of people outside of those communities too. So we've got a call for community champions, and that call is specifically for anyone to apply to host a unconference session. So this is a much more interactive session. We're looking for experienced facilitators who can, figure out for 45 minutes how they can get attendees to actually interact with each other based on a particular topic, whether it be focused on the Power Platform or a diversity in tech topic, education, machine learning, could be anything. But the idea is that if you gather these people who are interested in that topic together, you could come up with some amazing ideas or a really great best practice sharing session that everyone else can, learn from. And another objective of these unconference sessions is that you want to be able to get to know other people who also focus in the area. I would love for people to come away from an unconference session with a connection to someone that they may end up, like I said before, reuniting with again at Microsoft Unite, and continue to follow on Twitter, converse over whatever medium they like, and continue to learn and exchange best practices. So that's unconferences. And the other part of Call for Community Champions is podcasts. So we're looking for people to record their podcast at Microsoft Ignite. There's a lot of, fanfare, I guess, when it comes to having your recording actually recorded at Ignite. You'll get a little bit of background noise, but nothing too distracting for you to deliver a great podcast. We'll have 3 podcast booths available to be scheduled, and then a 4th one for walk-ups in case you do get a ad hoc request or a spur of the moment reason to record a podcast right there and then. Those are bookable on site during the week of Ignite. And some people will be given the special opportunity to deliver their podcast in front of a Ignite attendee audience. And only a very select few will be selected to do this based on their popularity. And the reason why we're doing that is because we think attendees will get a real kick out of seeing some of their favorite podcasters up on stage and recording their session live. And that can be a session that they can add to the session catalog. They can make time to go and listen to them. We always host Mary Jo Foley and Paul Thurrott for their Windows Weekly podcast, and so that will be the kind of experience you can expect. So yeah, that's the call for community champions.
oh, that sounds like a very good experience for some people that are coming up in the technology world and are doing things in that space right now. So yeah, that's going to be a very good opportunity for that. So
Totally.
and I remember watching previous years. I've been at Ignite, and I've watched them do the recordings, and that it's a pretty good setup.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You would really only need to bring yourself and the your co-presenters to be a part of that. We take care of all of the equipment, the crew is all there. We just want your amazing voices. So that's what the podcast center involves.
Very good. So
Yeah.
It sounds like looking very much forward to it, Ignite this year. So
yeah, and actually that's not it. I feel like that guy used to be on that TV as like, but wait, there's more. But yes, the third and final part where community can be involved. So I don't know if you're familiar, Bill, with community reporters, but this will be our third year running the community reporter program, and we specifically look for 10 community reporters to be part of our live stream experience. So in previous years, you may have seen fellow MVPs actually be on camera, part of the live stream, in between Satya and the next person doing their general session, like interviewing an attendee or interviewing Julia White and being part of that experience. So we're hosting open auditions for the community reporter role right now. That is open. And if you go to the Microsoft Ignite website, you'll see all three of those call for community, both community content, community champions, and the community reporters live on the website right now under the community page. And the main difference, well, there's a few differences this year for community reporters. One, the live stream is going to be happening all week long. So it won't be just Monday, it'll be all the way through to Friday. And we'll definitely be utilizing the reporters in a massive way. And as a result of that, we're going to be asking for a lot of their time, not only on site, but actually preparing for the live stream itself. And so if you are selected to be a community reporter, you will be 100% committed to that experience. So you cannot speak and deliver a breakout or a sit. It just would be too stressful, a huge commitment, and just be way too much for you to physically deliver. So we wouldn't want to overwork any of our reporters. But that is open to everyone.
No, so that sounds like a very good opportunity.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, no one has told me that they hated the opportunity. They all loved it. They all got to, meet their heroes. Even I think Tracy from South Africa managed to get her arm signed by Jeff Teeper, who's the father of SharePoint, and I think she even got it tattooed ultimately, which is kind of amazing. And if you are interested in seeing what community reporters do, just look on YouTube, go to Microsoft Ignite Community Reporters, just to put that in the search, and you'll be able to see all the great interviews that they did. But yeah, that's going to be part of that. That's community reporters. But one thing I haven't said yet is what you get in exchange for this. So if you're selected for any one of these roles, whether you're a speaker, whether you are going to facilitate a unconference, host a podcast, or be a community reporter, you'll get a full community pass package, which includes the week-long full conference pass. You'll get your hotel accommodation covered for 6 nights. You'll also get your flights covered too. So up to $2,000 US for international itineraries, 600 domestic. And yeah, I mean, we really want to make sure that you're well rested, you're fully prepared. We want you to cover your costs of going to Orlando. So it's a pretty big investment, and we hope that many of you will be recipients of that.
Sounds very good. Sounds like a really good opportunity. I know myself, I've done some of the local events, but never had a chance to do the U.S. Events. So it's an opportunity that I'm looking forward to applying for this year. So
yeah,
good.
I'll be looking for your submission, Bill.
Yep. So anything else that we need to cover on Ignite this year?
As you can probably tell, I could talk for hours about community, but I don't want. Maybe we could spend another episode on that as our plans unfold, especially in terms of what people can expect going to Microsoft Ignite, and especially for you, if you do get to go to Orlando, this will be your first timer experience. So I would love to share with you some first timer tips for anyone going to a conference as big as Ignite.
Yep, and also for the people listening to this, the group that's put together the Integration Down Under webcasts, myself, Martin, Wagner, Dan, and Renee have all been to the U.S. conference. So you can ask us if you've got questions about things about the conference. Feel free to reach out to any of us through the Integration Down Under Twitter. And we can help you too if you've got questions.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you very much, Anna. And I think that's a wrap for today.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. Look forward to speaking to you again.